Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 58 of Be With Me. Today's title is Building Beauty. We're in a passage in Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2, where God is asking us to build beauty internally. That is in our thoughts and in our minds. And then it's supposed to be demonstrated externally. So we're building beauty internally. We're building beauty externally. So we're going to talk today about three ideas about how this internal and external beauty is built. It's built on the mercy of God, it's built in community, and it's built for the pleasure of God. Those three things about building beauty. Let me read the passage and then we'll dissect it up a little bit. I appeal to you, brothers, plural. That's the community part. By the mercies of God. That's what we build this beautiful structure on the mercies of God. I appeal to you, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God. That's the pleasure of God, which is your spiritual worship. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. So this is Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2, very famous verses. We're building beauty here. We're building beauty internally. We're building beauty externally. And then we're going to even take a step further back than that and to say, how do we build on this? Like, what is the foundation? And he says, I appeal to you, brother, by the mercies of God, then to do all this stuff, then to build beauty. Well, so the idea is we're supposed to build our life on the mercy of God. That's the start. We've talked the last couple of days about the cost of these verses. David said in 1 Chronicles 21, I will offer no sacrifice that does not cost me something. And here's the thing, before it costs us something, and that's obviously what we think a lot about is, it's hard on me, but before it costs us something, it cost God something. That is, the one word answer for that is his mercy. And that's his forbearance and his sacrifice. So God's cost is his mercy. I think of that as a little equation. Almost God's cost equals mercy. So remember that God's mercy isn't without cost. It was hard on him. It cost God something. So as we work hard and we say, oh man, changing my outward beauty and my behavior and being this living sacrifice, it's hard on me. Just remember, it was hard on God first. Or we say, oh, the transforming my mind and not conforming and just doing what the world says and transforming it and testing and pursuing his will and discernment and active engagement, knowledgeable mind, doing the careful and critical work of the intellect, of the mind, of the soul. And we say, oh, that's so hard. Remember, it was also hard on God. Jesus had the same temptations that you have. He resisted. So we have two jobs, making God outwardly beautiful in our behavior and making God inwardly beautiful in our mind. And both this beauty inwardly and this beauty outwardly is built on the mercy of God. The difficulty of what we face is built on the difficulty and the success that God faced. So remember what God has done for you and for me as we do the difficult work of the mind, the will, the soul. Remember what God has done for us as we do the difficult work of the body and the tongue and the zipper and behavior. All right, that's point number one. Point number two is community. Is God's, when we say it's hard, we never say it's hard alone. Our complaint might be, hey, I'm alone. I'm the only one here. Woe is me. No, you might be alone in your mind between your ears, but you're never supposed to be alone in your mind without brothers around you. This passage is a plural passage. Brothers and bodies. It presumes and expects and even demands real community. It demonstrates that the workshop of the tested mind and the costly bodies of sacrifice is done together. It's the place where you need to have a place where people learn about, forgive, forbear, struggle with conviction so that you are not alone. This verse demands it and commands it. Here's my favorite marker of community is, do you have to say you're sorry every once in a while? The command is to be outwardly beautiful together. And you may even foundationally ask, do you even value community? And how would I know that you value a community? And then the final point. So the first one is mercy. We want to build beauty together on mercy. We want to build it together in community. And then finally, we want to build it for the pleasure of God. So we start with mercy, and we're going to end with God's pleasure. We're supposed to aim for pleasure, God's pleasure. The end result of this is supposed to be acceptable to God. And it's fair to ask, how can I please God? This transformed this mind and this presented body, the idea is that it's supposed to be pleasing to God. By the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice acceptable to God. So the cost, the challenge of the walk is that it heads towards pleasing Him. Jesus was involved in this process, this difficult process. And as we're involved with this process, we become more Christ-like. So the idea here is that we become one more inch closer to Christ-likeness. I always think about people say, hey, I need to lose 10 pounds. And that's not the point here spiritually. The spiritual correlation is, no, I need to lose an ounce today, or I need to get 1 inch closer to Christ. I need to be 1 ounce more like Christ. That process is the process that pleases God. So today, we're building beauty internally and externally. We're building it on the mercy. We're building our life on the mercy of God. So we're starting with that. By the mercies of God. We're doing it together. We're doing it in community. And finally, we're doing it for His pleasure. Please join me in this process. It's the most difficult thing in the spiritual walk, working between our ears and then amongst our brothers and sisters with presented bodies and changed behaviors. This is tough stuff. Let's do it together. Let's remember that it's based on God's mercy, and let's head towards God's pleasure because He is indeed pleased with this process in all of us. Let's build beauty together. Thanks for listening.